Welcome to the show. Today we're going to be talking about some tight ends for Week 8 of fantasy football that I'm either getting excited about or I'm lowering my expectations for. Real quick before we get started, if you're new here, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you're a returning viewer, make sure to leave a like on the old videos and this one as well as subscribe if you haven't already. The first guy on my list this week is TJ Hockenson, and he's someone I'm looking to lower my expectations for. So far in half PPR, he's been the tight end 6 with a pretty consistent floor of 8 points a game, which, considering the state of the tight end position, is really good and is more than enough to be a starter week in, week out. However, this week he has possibly the toughest matchup for tight ends, the Indianapolis Colts, who are allowing a whopping 3.6 fantasy points per game to tight ends, a full 2.5 lower than the number 2 team. Some of the stat lines they've given up this year are 1 for 8 to Tyler Eifert, 1 for 3 to Irv Smith, 4 for 33 to Jimmy Graham, and 5 for 57 to David Njoku in what was the best game they've allowed all year, but still is round about 8 fantasy points in half PPR. They also haven't allowed a single touchdown all year, and it's really unlikely that that's going to break this week. And considering Hock's best performance of the year, which was last week, came against the Falcons, it's hard to get excited about that considering this week because the Falcons are the single worst team when it comes to allowing fantasy points to tight ends. It's hard to bench a guy who has such a consistent floor and has been pretty good every week of the season, but this matchup is just so difficult that it's probably better off for you to either hit the wire or find an owner who has an extra tight end or two or throw him in offer for this week. I wouldn't expect the tight end 6 ranking you're seeing from Fantasy Pros this week. I'd probably expect mid to low tight end 2 finish, if anything, this week from Hockenson. Next up on my list is Jimmy Graham, and he's someone I'm definitely getting excited about this week. Despite the Bears' offense being pretty anemic, primarily due to Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky for the first week and a half of the season, Jimmy Graham has been the tight end 8 this year so far. Although his floor is lower than a guy like TJ Hockenson, his ceiling is incredibly high due to his 12 red zone targets, which leads his team, and the 5 touchdowns he scored so far. This week, he has the Saints lined up, who are a bottom 3 defense when it comes to allowing points to tight ends, allowing nearly 16 points a game. And last week, I know we saw some Cole Kmet targets and another guy who I'm not really sure the name of, but let it be clear, Jimmy Graham is the alpha tight end in this offense. He's the number 2 option primarily behind Allen Robinson, which brings me to one of the reasons I'm so enticed by Jimmy Graham this week. Allen Robinson is currently in the concussion protocol. And if he is missing, that by far takes away the Bears' biggest threat and Nick Foles' favorite weapon in the passing game. If he misses, that vacates about 10 targets of Foles' 41 attempts per game, which could see Jimmy Graham have a boost from about 6 targets per week to nearly 10, which could definitely be beneficial getting that type of volume against the defense that really is bad against the tight end. I'd expect more of a mid-high tight end 1 finish this week, which is a bit higher than the tight end 16 ECR rank Fantasy Pros has given him. The final guy on my list is Jared Cook, and he's someone I'm looking to lower expectations for. So far this year, he's been the tight end 18 with 2 top 10 finishes, and he's been averaging 9 points a game. If you strictly go off the points per game averaged, he's the tight end 11 so far. The Bears matchup is middling. They're 18th in points allowed to tight ends, but on the whole, they are a very strong defense, which is a concern. But the main issue comes with how many people around him might be absent. And I know that I said Allen Robinson missing would boost Jimmy Graham, but the Bears do have other options, and they'd only be missing one guy. They do have Darnell Mooney, they do have David Montgomery, they do have Anthony Miller. They have other guys who aren't great, but they still have people that will take attention away from him. The Saints could be missing Michael Thomas, Callaway, and Emmanuel Sanders. They're top 3 wide receivers, which would most likely make him and Kamara the 1 and 2 option, maybe Cook 1, maybe Cook 2, but they are the front runners for the top 2 spots. Traquan Smith really wasn't a factor last week. So I know that those absent players can lead to a target funnel for Jared Cook, but I'm going to view as that there's such little talent surrounding him and Kamara that the Bears are going to take the opportunity to key in on him and let everyone else beat them. They'll key in on him. They'll try and key in on Kamara. It's really almost impossible to do that, and try and let Traquan Smith and is Lil Jordan Humphrey still on the Saints? They'll let those 2 try to beat them. So I wouldn't expect a tight end 9 performance this week where he's projected, but more of a low-end mid tight end 2 this week. So to recap, I'm lowering my expectations for TJ Hockenson, getting excited for Jimmy Graham, and lowering my expectations for Jared Cook. That's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and a comment. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you didn't enjoy it, leave a dislike, leave me a comment, tell me what I can do better. Should have another video coming out maybe later today or tomorrow, not sure yet. I'll keep you guys updated. And that's about it. Peace.